Another video on psychology and this whole definition of insanity or delusional or crazy or whatever, go on right down the line. This one's specifically a response video to DoNotGod, who I think is, largely full of shit on this subject, among others. But so anyway, her definition of sanity is normalcy isn't the standard, which I would agree, but functionality is her standard. So you're insane if you are dysfunctional in society. So isn't that the same thing? Society is made up of normalcy, and so if you can't function in normalcy, you're insane. Well, I would use as example the panther in a zoo, pacing back and forth. Is the panther insane? Or is his circumstance insane? Is he being required to live beyond his capacity? Or is he broken? I would say certainly he ends up being broken, but his brokenness, obviously, I don't think is a constituent of his nature. It's not built inside of him to be broken. The brokenness has been caused by the normalcy imposed upon him. So that's my critique there. Then, yes, I would agree that psychology, anyway, even psychiatry, that these are soft sciences, but there's aspects of them that are hard. There's parts of the science that is fact-based, that is based on observations that are legitimate. There are psychiatric syndromes that people have that can be universally, I think, defined as insane. Compulsive disorders or paranoia, schizophrenia. These can, in their extremes, create a gross irrationality, and behavior that is thus incredibly destructive and unproductive to society. A lot of your assassins in history, at least in American culture, probably fall into that category. They have very, very delusional perceptions. And they're built out of something they can't even control logically. They could even know somebody can know they have a compulsive disorder, and that's not going to change the fact that they're still driven by the compulsion. So, that part of the science is pretty good science. The part of the science that sucks is the part where we do the panther in the zoo thing, where we try to determine, we set a standard and say, well, if the panther can't adapt to this wonderful cement crappy environment we've built for him, he must be broken, and we have to fix him because he's broken, and that's when the science gets kind of mushy. So anyway, the bottom line is, I think these words, delusional, that's sort of a specific word. It just kind of basically means bullshit. And religion is bullshit. Faith is bullshit. And when, as you pointed out, these people are hypocrites. Hypocrisy is bullshit. Newsflash. And that's delusional. That's a self-imposed delusion. You're choosing to retard yourself when you commit hypocrisy. You are overtly committing the act of self-retardation. And there's certainly it's perfectly legitimate, I think, to use these words, insane or crazy. They're often used, like somebody will say insanely stupid. They go together, because stupidity it breaks the brain. That's the bottom line, is this is a logical machine. And if you put illogical crap into it, wrong facts, you will break its functionality. I used the example in the other video, but I'll say it again. If you build a calculator that has the equations wrong inside of it, then it will produce mush, rubbish, crap, bullshit. It will be of no use. And your brain is of no use if you build it out of shit. The logic, anyway. The logic has to have some integrity. Or the machine is useless, regardless of how normal you behave. And even that argument, I mean, there's all kinds of dangerous thinking, all kinds of dangerous ideas. What got George Bush elected? It certainly wasn't rational, the second time. I mean, the first time, okay, well, people can make mistakes. But that was, in my opinion, an act of grotesque insanity, was giving him a second term. What was the anyway. And then, to get to your specific argument, you made this stupid analogy, comparing the killing of the infidel to the hostility, the social hostility towards pedophiles, as if holding an idea was as horrible as physically acting on a disposition, like molesting a child. And I don't think there's any place in history where that would ever be excusable as normal. I mean, not normal is the wrong word, as acceptable, rational behavior. And we all know these people, even 300 years ago or 500, we know they were hypocrites. They would be burning the witch at the same time they were fucking the maid or doing so. They were Jerry Falwells then and they're Jerry Falwells now. I mean, they were the same character flaws, the same lying bullshit. And that's my argument, that this is about lying. This is about hypocrisy. This is about self-delusion. This is about self-retardation, because it is convenient. And where I say people are perfectly allowed to be as delusional as they want in the bedroom, but when it comes to pulling switches in voting booths or entire philosophies, they got to take a little bit of responsibility for what they're thinking. And they can't base it on a bunch of, fairy tales, Goldilocks bullshit. And I think that was, like I said, it's just a stupid comparison to say there was ever a point in history the Inquisition had any integrity as a rational instrument, because somehow it had a more qualified faith. Its faith wasn't any more qualified. It wasn't anything. It was just as much bullshit then as it is bullshit now. It's just that they annihilated anybody who opened their mouth. At least now we've gotten the faithful to be a little more responsible, because we survived long enough to do that. We had some great people like Thomas Jefferson to save our asses. But there's no difference. I mean, the crime is the same. So anyway, I thought that was just such bullshit. And the fact that the faithful, you even said it. I mean, they don't apply faith in any other part of their life. They don't use faith as an instrument of understanding, except in this one, and that hypocrisy somehow isn't insane. And I say it is. I say it produces a brain that is broken. You cannot. The logic depends on the integrity, as I said, of what you build. Logic is built out of facts. It's a function of the brain, but it's more a function of knowledge. And like I said, the science of psychology can detect when the function is really broken. I mean, in the case of the paranoid schizophrenic, the function is broken. I mean, it doesn't matter how good the logic, the information is, the brain is distorting it. It is not functioning properly in terms of how it is balancing the facts that are put into the brain. And the same with the compulsive disorder. I mean, somebody could have could have contempt for superstition, and yet they will be driven by this compulsion, this compulsive disorder. So it is those are aspects of psychology that have a much harder and more relevant distortion of the machine itself, and they don't really disable logic or intellect. They just disable the person's emotional character in some respects. And there's a big difference too. I mean, you've got to make some separation. There's no separation in your rhetoric for the fact that our intellect is separate from our emotional character. These are two different instruments. And there's got to be appreciation for that, and the intellect really has to be as pure as we can make it. And you just can't keep, you just keep requalifying things with the same things. You say an idea isn't necessarily dangerous unless it's turned into a belief. Well, god damn it, an idea and a belief are about the same. So it's, what's this idiotic distinctions? So let's see, I'm running out of time, so let's see if there's any last little bit. The big word was hypocrisy. That's the big theme here, and the idea that rationality really is dependent on understanding the fucking truth. And if you retard yourself with lies, you are breaking the rational instrument. So you are delusional, and you can make yourself full out friggin' insane if you let that go too far.